have a strap nearby. If you don't have one, no worries. We can make this work without as well. But go ahead and just come onto your back. And when you get there, give the knees a nice gentle squeeze into the chest. You might be holding shins if you're feeling a little tighter, especially in the hamstrings or hamstrings and hip flexors. You can just hold the backs of your legs. Can rock a little bit from side to side here. And maybe even just come into a brief little happy baby. So grabbing the outer edges of your feet or thighs, gently pulling down, losing that curve in your lower back, directing the tailbone forward. And let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. Do that a couple more times. Maybe just releasing your feet down to the mat, taking your feet wide, and then knees knocking towards each other. So a couple more deep inhales through your nose. And then exhales through your mouth. And as you feel ready, you start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. As much as possible, bringing your attention to that sound. So just kind of letting it focus and quiet the mind. That being said, you will be distracted by sounds happening in the room you're in. You'll get distracted by the thoughts coming in and out of your mind. But you might find that you start to string together more moments of stillness and quiet. So enjoy that as well. Feel the backside of your body pressing heavy into the mat here, especially your feet, your hip plates, and your shoulder blades. As the shoulder blades press down, it feels as though you're opening up across your heart and chest. Make sure that there's no grip in your inner thigh, so you're softening there. And then we're just going to be here breathing quietly for a couple of moments, just listening to that sound of your breath. Make sure there's not tension in your feet and your fingers and your face and jaw. So soften in all of those places. Feel the expansiveness of your breath. It's very three-dimensional. Maybe see if you can breathe more into the back of your body. So you almost feel those back ribs pressing down into the mat as well. Good. And then just start to heel toe your feet together. You can blink your eyes open here. Hug your right knee into your chest. Give it a little squeeze again. You can hold on to the shin or the thigh. And then just start to make some circles in that hip socket, that hip joint. It can be big, small. Just noticing how things are feeling here today. You can switch directions. And then this is where you can grab your strap if you have it. So if you've got a strap, you're going to take it around the sole of your foot. You could use a belt, you could use a scarf. If you don't have a strap and you're flexible enough, or if you do have a strap and you have enough flexibility and you can hook your big toes, I find that that's really challenging at the beginning of my yoga practice. I usually can't do it. But you could take that variation if that's you. The other thing that you might do here is just hold on to your knee or your thigh with your hand. So that will also work. And then you could straighten the leg a little bit if you want to. You can also keep the knee bent. So just find the variation that feels good for you. I'm going to use a strap here. The strap, you can take one hand on each strap. And this is really nice because you can come down as far as you need to so that both shoulder blades can press. As you exhale, breathe a little space into this right hip. It feels like you're drawing it forward. You can even take your right thumb there and manually move things a little bit just to get that sensation. This can be a really big glute stretch, hamstring stretch. Might be feeling it in the calf. There's a lot of places you could be feeling it. So I want you to notice how you're feeling here. If you're getting a lot of intensity and if this feels like enough, you're going to stay here and breathe like this. Otherwise, if you'd like to go a little further, start to extend that left leg to straight on the mat. So both legs are in Tadasana mountain pose. They're facing different directions, but they both have that feeling as though we were standing on them. So they're really active. Feet are flexed, arches lifting. Your inner right thigh is spiraling forward as your inner left thigh spirals down. And again, you might be just interlacing fingers around your thigh if you don't have a strap. You can keep that knee bent. We're going to keep this left leg really active, particularly if it is extended straight on the floor. In fact, you can take both straps into your right hand, place your left hand on top of that thigh. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then exhale, start to open up this right leg. So you can do it again with this variation with knee bent. You might be hooking the big toes. Maybe you have that strap. So you're just getting this nice external rotation, little hip opening. You could be feeling this in the groin. You might be up pretty high and feeling an intense stretch. So just remember that there's like no perfect place to be in this pose. The place that you need to be is where you're feeling the stretch. And some days it's really different. Some days we need less, some days we need more. So always being attentive to that, paying attention to what's going on in your body. And then find your breath again. So that inhale through your nose and that exhale through your nose. Inhale and the exhale are really nice and even. Good. As you inhale, you're going to come up to center. And then we're going to do the twist. And this one in particular is great for the lower back. It can be good for IT band stuff, sciatica. It's a really good one to do. So if you're feeling really tight, again, you're not going to go very far. So we're going to take that right arm out in a T shape, both straps into the left hand. You're going to roll to the outer edge of that left leg. This right hip plate is going to start to pop up. Hips might even stack on top of each other. And again, maybe you're doing this with a bent knee, just holding onto the knee. So a nice little side stretch there. You are either gazing straight up at the ceiling or looking out over your right fingertips. We're going to hold this for several breaths. So you have lots of time to get into the pose and we'll open up into it. So take your time getting there. You do want to feel both shoulder blades heavy here. So if this right shoulder blade is lifting up off the mat, it probably means that you're a little too deep into the twist and you need to back out a little bit. All right, so from here, let's inhale, come back to center. And then let's do that stretch where we bring our right big toe towards our left shoulder head. So you can do that with a strap, both hands. So you're keeping the back side of your body pressing evenly, but you're getting that little diagonal stretch. And again, that's really great for sciatic stuff, IT band. It's a little asymmetrical stretching. So nice to loosen everything up here, all these big muscles that are attaching. And again, your knee can be bent here and you can kind of just be bringing that knee towards that left shoulder. So lots of options. This is one of those stretches. It doesn't look like much is happening, but it's pretty intense. You can really feel it. So keep breathing. Notice if there's tension in your face and jaw. See if you can soften there. All right, let's come back to center. Give that right knee a squeeze in. You can bend the left knee in and then just assess here. Notice how you're feeling on each side, maybe feeling a little more open, a little more stretched out on that right side. And let's even things out. So place that right foot on the mat and then start to circle around in this left hip socket. Big, small circles, whatever you need. Go both directions. Good. And then again, you can find the strap or whatever prop you're using. Maybe you just hold on behind. Maybe you're hooking the big toes if you have that flexibility, and you can keep both shoulder blades pressing down into the mat. So see what feels best for you. And then we just take a few breaths here. Find that idea again of that left hip coming forward for your, so you're finding space in that lower left waist. You're feeling both hip plates press evenly into the mat. And then if you would like, you start to extend that right leg to straight. This side might feel different. So if that's not a good variation for you, just bend the knee again. Find that rhythm of your breath. Send your exhale to the spots that are particularly tight. It's a hamstring, outer hips here. You might be feeling it in the glute. Imagine the breath just opening things up, creating a little space, little ease. And then we start to find the external rotation. And maybe this time before we even start to open that leg up, kind of turn the toes out to the side, to the left a little bit, right hand on right thigh. And then let that leg extend. Again, the knee can be bent. You can be holding onto your thigh. You might be pretty upright. You might not go very far at all. You just find that place where you can keep the backside of your body pressing, but you're getting a little stretch. Breath smooth and steady. And just gazing up at the ceiling. Your eyes might be closed here. Got a couple more breaths. Make sure, especially if that right leg is extended, that it's really active. It's as though you're standing on it. On your next inhale, come back to center. Both straps come to your left hand, or you can hold on to that, right hand. You can hold on to that left leg with your right arm. Good. Left arm out in a T shape, anchor down into that shoulder. And then you roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Left hip might start to stack any amount, or it's moving in that direction. You might not be moving far. Even here, can you draw that left hip forward and down? It's harder to get a deep inhale here and these deep twists. So maybe that's an indication that you need to back out a little bit too if the breath is feeling a little shallow. All right. As you inhale, you come up to center. So back side of the body presses, tiny movement, left big toe towards your right shoulder. Ooh, super intense. Keep breathing. Back out a little bit if you need to. We'll do the standing version of this as well today, this little stretch here. Couple more good breaths. Good, let's come back to center, release the strap. Give both knees a squeeze into your chest. Maybe that's feeling a little easier. Maybe not yet, that's fine as well too. And then your choice, you're gonna roll off to one side, come around to your tabletop. If it feels okay to roll forward and back on your spine, and massage that out. You can do that a few times and then eventually rolling all the way up. We're gonna land on our tabletop. Right away, we're gonna move into some cat-cow here. So shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading, knees underneath your hips, root down into your shins. Inhale, arch into your lumbar, chest comes forward. As you exhale, press the mat away, round in. Good, inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. So I want you to continue like this, just moving with your breath. So we're connecting movement with breath. We're finding this idea of vinyasa. Warming up the spine here, which feels really nice. And just flowing with the breath, which also feels really nice. For a lot of us, it has a calming quality on the mind, kind of helps us to slow down some of the chatter. And then let's inhale, come back to neutral spine. So curl your toes under here, feel your lower belly engage, and we're just gonna lift the knees up about an inch here. So we're gonna start to fire up the core. So tiny, tiny amount, keep your gaze forward, back of the neck long. Scoop your lower belly in and up. You might start to shake a little bit. Few more breaths. Stick with it if you can. You can always put those knees back down. And then as you exhale, start to stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling. And then release back into your downward dog. You might need to take your stance a little wider. Take a moment here, pedal back and forth between your feet. So just find any movement that feels nice for you. Maybe nod head yes and no. Maybe making some small little circles. And then as you feel ready, just finding a place of stillness. So feet about hips distance apart, you're just gazing between your feet. You can have a little bend in your knees, especially this first downward dog of the day. Forearms are squeezing in towards each other. Fingers are spreading, so arms are really active. You're feeling the muscle firm to bone. And then nice and easy here, let's just start to walk our feet forward to meet our hands at the top of the mat. So feet can be close together, about hips distance apart, whatever feels best in your body. Make sure that all of the weight isn't back in your heels. Maybe rock forward a little bit. As you inhale, hands on shins or thighs, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, fold in, pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. And we're going to just start to move into some half Surya Namaskars here, half sun salute. So inhaling, reaching up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold back in. And then pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Exhaling, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach Utthita Hastasana into Tadasana, extended mountain. Exhale, inner thigh spiral back as you fold in Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold back into your Uttanasana. And then inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. 2 more of these. I'm not going to cue you. You can just follow along with me if you know these well and you want to close your eyes and flow. You're welcome to do that. Mostly just let them feel really good. Make any little adjustments that you need to so you can accomplish that. Listen to that sound of your breath. Inhale through your nose and then exhale through your nose. Good, and when you're done with that second round, you can just close your eyes, palms together at your heart, check in, notice how you're feeling. Let's find that rhythm of the breath again. And then go ahead and blink your eyes open. Let's inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good, inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. We're going to keep the right foot forward, step your left foot way back, land on that knee. And let's take a couple of breaths here. So letting this left hip flexor release down. You want to make sure that your right knee is over your right ankle. If you're super tight here, this is a great place to have hands on blocks. So if you have those at home, you can grab them or some books or cushions. Really sending breath to the top of this left hip flexor. Good. And then let's bring our hands to that right thigh. You might need to walk your right foot off to the right a little bit, especially if you feel like you're on a tightrope. So make sure that you're on train tracks here. Legs are hips distance apart. Direct your tailbone down. Stretch your sternum up. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. And then imagine that you have corn cob holders on your outer hips here. So they're squeezing in. Feel that sensation. Hold on to it. Right fingertips to left wrist. Start to lateral stretch to the right. So your side bending to the right. You're feeling all of that length through the left side. Outer hip squeeze in. Lower belly squeezes in. Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. Make sure that you're breathing here. This is a little bit of a balance pose, so sometimes we hold the breath. Let's inhale back up to center. Good. As you exhale, hands are going to plant. So this first time, we're just going to curl these left toes under. Reach your right leg back, coming into your downward facing dog. Good. And then be careful about what's behind you. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step that foot through. Land on your right knee. So hip flexor stretch on this right side. It's going to feel different. You're just noticing all of that. Backing out a little bit if you need to. Melting in a little more. Keeping that breath smooth and steady. Good. We're going to start to upright ourselves here. So hands come to that left thigh. Adjust your stance if you need to so that you feel very solid and stable here. Tailbone releases down. Sternum stretches up. Arms reach out and up. And then feel the outer hips squeeze in. Left fingertips to right wrist. Start to side bend to the left. It should be this really nice stretch here through this entire right side. Spinning left ribs up towards the ceiling. Maybe gazing up underneath that top arm. Good. Let's inhale up to center. As you exhale, hands are going to plant. You're going to curl those right toes under and step that right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So this time as you inhale, arms reach out and up. Right fingertips, left wrist. Exhale, side bend to the right. Good. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips, right wrist. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale up to center. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your right foot way back. So make sure that your legs are hips distance apart as you inhale, rise up into your full crescent pose. Couple of breaths here. Maybe there's a little bend in that back knee. Maybe you see if you can sink into the left knee a little deeper. Maybe you press palms together, look up overhead. And then as we exhale, hands plant, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale. Lift your right leg back behind you. I had to think about that a sec. As you exhale, step that foot through. So right leg in front here. And then again, as we inhale, we rise up. Full crescent pose this time. Little bend in the knee is always helpful, especially if you're a little tighter in your hip flexors. It's just going to help you to find more length there. Breath smooth and steady. And then maybe we bring our gaze up, press palms. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Close your eyes, take a breath or two here. Let everything slow down. Good. And then you're going to blink your eyes open. As we inhale, arms reach out and up. Good. As you exhale this time, release your right arm down. Left arm comes up and over. So just a little slightly different side bend. Inhale up to center. Exhale, left arm releases by your side, right arm up and over. Good, inhale up to center. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep that right foot forward, step your left foot back. One breath this time, inhale, rise up into your crescent pose. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Keep your gaze forward, keep your hips as slow. You're gonna step back to your plank pose. We're gonna take a couple of breaths here. You come to your knees if you need to. Keep your gaze forward, heels reaching back, forearms squeezing in towards each other. Deep inhale. As you exhale, come to your knees, elbows bend to halfway, and then land in one piece on your belly. Reach your arms by your side, so palms just face in. Spread your toes, press a little more to the outer edge of the baby toe, the outer edge of the feet. As you inhale, head, chest, arms can lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up into your Shavasana. Good, exhale, lower. This time as you inhale, maybe you add your legs, and let's just hold here for a few breaths. Feel those shoulder blades really squeeze in towards each other in the center of your back. On your inhale, feel a little more lift and lightness. Good, place your feet down, keep your upper body lifting, bend your elbows, bring your fingertips underneath your shoulder head. So we're in our Bhujangasana Low Cobra. As you exhale, press to your tabletop, curl toes under, downward facing dog. As you inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Good, inhale, rise up. Full crescent pose. Good, as you exhale, hands come to the mat, step the right foot to meet your left foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Here we go, inhale, arms reach. Good, this one, let's exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale up to center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale up to center. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your right foot way back. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Inhale, rise up into your crescent pose. All right, so find that idea here, outer hip squeezing in. We're gonna start to side bend to the left. Maybe you take your left hand, grab your right thigh, could be even your outer right hip. So just wherever it feels good. So little lateral stretch here in our crescent pose. Let's inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, hands plant. Keep your gaze forward, step back into your plank pose. Nice deep inhale here. And then your choice, lower to your knees again, or exhale, lower halfway, pause, and then all the way down. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, press to your tabletop, curl your toes under, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift your right leg. Exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope here. As we inhale, we rise up. Good. Feel the outer hips really firm in. Start to side bend to the right. So feeling all of that stretch on the left side. Can reach this right hand back down that left leg. You might bend the elbow and kind of take a wrap here. Whatever feels good. Feel that right shoulder blade releasing down. Maybe gaze up underneath that top arm if you feel stable and steady. We're going to inhale up to center. As we exhale, hands plant. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. All right, so you may or may not want blocks here. We're going to do another little asymmetric stretch. So this is like the standing version of what we did laying down. So blocks can be helpful. So let's start just in a nice Tadasana. And then let's take our left foot, cross it in front of our right foot. So it can even be a little challenging to stand here like this. You can bring your hands to your hips, elbow squeeze in, inhale, heart reaches. And then as you exhale, you start to hinge forward, fold in. And you're going to feel this deep, deep stretch in that outer right hip, glute. Fingertips might come to the floor. Again, this could be a really great place to have blocks, and you can kind of adjust the height. So you're basically bringing the floor closer to you. Pretty intense stretch. So keep that breath moving. If you're getting plenty here like this, you stay here. Otherwise, you start to twist to the left. So you're moving towards that hip of the leg that's crossed in front. So you can take the blocks with you, or you can be on fingertips here. And that's just going to take everything a little deeper. Really gets into this like lower trunk area where a lot of us get super tight. All right, let's walk back to center here. Good. Let's bring our hands to our hips. Press into your feet as you inhale with a flat back. Rise on up. And then uncross that left ankle. And we'll take that second side. So right ankle crosses in front. Just doing that can feel really challenging. So kind of adjust if you need to. A little bend in the knees can be helpful. Good. And then as you exhale, you start to hinge, forward fold, and so you feel everything shift to this outer left hip. And that doesn't mean that you're still not feeling it in that right hip. It's just probably more intense on that left side. How is this side different in your body? Noticing that, making any little adjustments that you need to. And then if you're getting plenty here, you stay here. This side could look different than the other side. If you feel like you want to intensify things a little bit, start to walk your hands off to the right. Good. Walk back to center. Inhale, chest lengthens forward. As you exhale, hands come to your hips, elbow squeeze in. Nice flat back. Inhale, press into your feet to come on up. And then uncross your legs. Just give them a little walk out here. So let's inhale, stretch our arms out and up. Come up to your tippy toes. Feel the lower belly pull in and up. Keep your knees squeezing in towards each other. Ooh, I'm not doing so hot here today. And then we're going to start to slowly bend our knees and then come to seated. And we're going to do a little hip stretching here. So kind of a little seated pigeon pose. So we're going to bend both knees. So finding the center of your sit bones. So you're sitting nice and tall. So you want to make sure that you're not rounding your spine here, but instead you have lots of length. So you might need to take your feet a little further forward. We're going to take our right ankle and we're going to cross it above our left knee. So you're going to flex this right foot just to help protect the knee joint. You can take your fingertips behind you too. You might even take your right hand, press it into that right thigh. So you're just finding a little more space. You might even be able to scoot your hips in or your sit bones in a little closer to that left heel. So lots of different options. So this is a version of our single pigeon, our seated pigeon. I'm just opening up this hip area here. A few breaths, and we'll take this into a couple standing poses. If you're in pretty deep, if you feel like you can continue to sit tall, but you have a little more room, maybe make a little forklift with your elbows around this right leg, and then perhaps extend that left leg to straight. You might even just find a little movement here, a little side to side. All right, if you've got that variation, go ahead and bend your left knee back in. Give yourself a little space. Uncross that right ankle, and it might feel really good here to give the legs a little shake out. All right, and then we take that second side. So left ankle crosses above, right knee one side is always tighter, especially in the hips. So this might be exactly where you stay. You might be able to scooch in a little tighter. You might even take your left hand, press gently forward on that left thigh. All good places to be. Keeping that breath smooth and steady, sending your exhale to the outer right hip. And again, just make sure that you're sitting nice and tall. So we don't want to round in a lot here. If you're rounding in, you need to give yourself a little more space. And then if you would like to find that forklift variation, if you can continue to sit tall, maybe extend your right leg to straight. So this is very much like a single pigeon pose, except for that we're in a different configuration. We're upright. Little movement in that hip socket if you would like. All right, start to just reverse your way out of this. Okay, so give the legs a little shake, and then just a fun or maybe not so fun little thing to come up to standing. So let's start with our right shin crossed in front. So you're kind of crossing at the ankles. You might need to use your hands to come up or hands on blocks, but I'm going to encourage you to try it without. So see if you can press into your feet. Come on up and then release down. And this is actually much harder to do than it looks like, but it's a good kind of gauge of where you are flexibility, strength-wise in your body. It's a good thing to be able to do. So left ankle crosses in front. Stand up. Sit down. All right, and then one more, whichever side you want. Come up to standing. Come to the top of your mat. Have a block at the top of your mat. We're going to find our warrior two and then our triangle pose. But we're going to flow into that. All right. So as you inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. You're gonna bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right foot back, then your left foot. Take an inhale here in your plank pose. And then shift forward on toes. You can do full chaturanga if you want. I'm just gonna do the modified version today. Inhale into your low cobra. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through and then walk it off to the left a little bit. Spin into the back edge of that left foot. Right heel intersects that arch. Inhale, up and over. Into your Virabhadrasana to make sure that your stance is wide enough. So this left hip releases down, those toes turn in a lot, but you're pressing your right knee back. Let's inhale, press that front leg to straight, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, sink in. Couple more like that. Inhale, up. Exhale, sink in, stay here, flip your right palm. Inhale, find your reverse warrior. We've done a lot of this lateral stretching today, so feel that. Good. Keep this in your upper body, but press to the inner edge of your right leg. And then from here, hold on to all of this lengthening that you've got through that right side. Reach, reach, reach. This is where you might want to find a block behind your ankle. So finding your triangle pose. Steal into the back edge of that left foot. Good, feel that inner right thigh. Pulling towards the inner left thigh. Notice if your head is hanging, maybe you're gripping it. So just find that place where your neck is nice and long. Maybe you're gazing up at your top fingers. Okay, let's take a nice deep inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to unwind. So release down, spin onto those left toes. And then let's step them in about 6 inches. Good. Place that foot down and then just fold in here, any amount. So pyramid pose, Tanasana. Again, we start to get into that right hamstring, right calf, trying to drag that left hip forward so it wants to open up. Try to get your hips nice and even here. Hands might be on blocks. Good, and then just start to bend that right knee. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. As you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, you hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Good. So step your left foot back, then your right. Find your plank pose. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, shift forward, lower through chaturanga, pause, come onto your belly. Inhale into your low cobra or up dog if you practice that. As you exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Just heel toe it to the right a little bit. Spin into the back edge of your right foot. So hip opening in that front leg, back leg is neutral. Virabhadrasana 2, get in nice and deep. Make sure that you have enough space. You want that left knee over left ankle. Inhale, straighten front leg, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, sink in. Good, inhale, straighten. Good, exhaling, sinking in. Good, one more, inhale, press that front leg. 2 straight, arms reach up overhead. As you exhale, sink in, and then flip that left palm towards the ceiling as you inhale. Find your reverse warrior for a few breaths here. All of this gorgeous lateral stretching. We've been doing a lot of that today. Keep that back leg nice and strong. Keep your left knee pressing to the wall behind you. And with all of that strength in the front leg, start to inhale, bring that leg to straight. See if you can hold on to all of this, lengthening through that left side as you start to hinge at that left hip crease, reaching forward. Hand can come to thigh, shin, block behind the foot is really nice. Feeling shoulder blades stack on top of each other. And again, just seeing what your neck is doing. We don't want it to hang. We don't want to overwork it. Just find that sweet spot. Make sure you're pressing to the inner edge of your left foot. That's going to help you to find more hip opening here. As you do that, can you spin those left ribs up towards the ceiling a little more? What's going on with your breath? And then maybe just a couple breaths on this side. Close your eyes. Really expand out in all directions. See how big you can get in this pose. Really take up space. Good, you can blink your eyes open. And then as we exhale, we unwind here. So spin onto those right toes and then walk that foot in about 6 inches. Spin into the back edge of the foot. Drag that right hip forward as your left hip comes back and you forward fold any amount. Hands can be on blocks here. Feel all of that intensity in that left side. Hamstring, the glute. Breath smooth and steady. Good. And then just start to bend that left knee. Step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. All right, so we're going to come to seated. We're going to come into our Upavista, so legs wide. So if you're on a hard surface, I recommend positioning yourself on your mat so that you can have your ankles on the mat. So just giving yourself a little cushion, or you could slide some blankets underneath. And you just come as wide as feels comfortable for you. Again, if it's really challenging for you to sit tall here, sitting up on a blanket or two is going to be really helpful. You might want to have a block handy. You're going to do a little more kind of asymmetrical stretching, which is really good for this trunk area, kind of loosens everything up. But before we do that, let's just take a nice forward fold here. So as you inhale, arms reach up. Keep pressing into your heels, keep pointing those toes up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, nice long spine, start to fold in any amount. So this is a challenging pose for me. I can't go terribly far. That might be you too. You might even be up on fingertips. If you are a little more flexible and you're able to lay your belly down, maybe see if you can squeeze the inner thighs in a little more, kind of squeeze the feet inward. Just give yourself a little more resistance, a little more muscular action. And then just finding several breaths here in Upavista Konasana, so wide angle forward fold. And then as we inhale, we're going to start to walk back in. Okay, so this is where it might be nice to have a block to the inside. It could be either your right thigh or your lower leg. It kind of just depends. We've been doing a lot of this side lateral stretching, so we're going to get into that a little more. So your right hand is going to rest on that block. It might just rest to the inside of the leg. It could be pretty close to you. You might be on the highest part of the block. All good places to be. So just see what feels best for you. Left fingertips to that left hip, root down into that left sit bone. Start to spin these right ribs up. Activate your feet. Make sure that you're pressing down into the center of your heel. Maybe you stay here like this. You're feeling a little shoulder stretch in this pose as well. Maybe you bring your left hand to the back of your head, and then you can kind of lean that elbow back. Keep wrapping right ribs up. Maybe you stretch that top arm up and over. And again, that just kind of intensifies this stretch that you're feeling through this left side of your trunk. And it's intense. So you do the variation where you're getting enough. Enough is enough. Maybe you're feeling your shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. This right one especially likes to come up around the ear. So can you soften there? Couple more good breaths. Good. As we exhale, we're going to unwind here. So we're going to take a little forward fold out over this left leg. Doesn't have to be super deep. You might just notice that your breath is kind of shifting. So the inhale is starting to get a little longer. The exhale is getting a little longer as we begin to cool down, wind down here. As we move towards our Shavasana. All right, start to walk your hands up, square your torso, and then we take that second side, which might feel different. So always be willing to have the props look a little different side to side. All right, so that left forearm comes to the inside of that left leg, right fingertips on that right hip. Just start to spin your left ribs up towards the ceiling. You're leaning your right elbow back. This might be where you stay. If you're getting good sensation, this is a perfect place to be. Maybe right fingertips come to the back of your head. You can lean that elbow back a little bit. A few of us might play with extending that right arm up and over. Keep spinning left ribs up, however, keep that breath smooth and steady. All right, let's start to unwind here. So one hand on either side of that left leg, hands can be on blocks. You could use a strap here. Let these right ribs release down towards the earth now. And again, keep legs active as much as possible. Good. As you inhale, come on up. Square your torso. Just bring your hands underneath your knees. Ooh, draw the legs in. They've been wide for a minute. Extend your legs to straight. One final little forward fold here before we come into our final resting pose. As you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge forward into your Pashimo Tanasana. We've done a lot of hamstring stretching, a lot of side stretching today, so this should feel pretty good. It might not. This is an intense, challenging pose. So you could always take a little bend in your knees. You could have a strap around your feet. There's always ways to modify. And then go ahead and inhale, come on up. You're gonna roll onto your back. When you get there, hug your knees into your chest. See if there's anything you need here. You might want to do a little twist, side to side. Maybe you want to come into another happy baby. So we're moving towards Shavasana. You might be ready to go there right now, but if there's anything else you need, just move in that direction. And as you come into your Shavasana, if you find that there's any tenderness in your lower back, either slide blocks or a blanket underneath your knees, or you can keep your knees bent, feet wide as your mat, and just allow your knees to knock in towards each other. And then really allow yourself to soak up these final quiet moments here. To completely rest after working really hard. Shavasana. Let your next inhale be deeper. And just open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Stretch the arms out. Just bring a little movement back to your body. Staying soft and quiet, you roll to one side or the other. Find the fetal position. And then just use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So last check-in here, just noticing how you feel differently than when we started. Hopefully it feels like there's a little more space and ease in your body, a little more strength. The breath is a little richer and deeper. Perhaps you're feeling a little calmer, a little more focused, maybe even a little sense of joy. So soak all of that up. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up, for making it happen. And then just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart and just bow your head with a smile.